Hello and welcome back to my stamp studio. So today I am here and excited to share with you my first stamp retreat in a box. So I came up with this idea a couple weeks ago because I've been stamping quite a bit out of Stampin' UP Spring mini catalog with a lot of new products. And a lot of times I sit down and create 6, sometimes 8, 10 different cards, projects using a suite or a bundle. And I thought, you know what? If I like to stamp more, why wouldn't you all like to stamp more? So I came up with this idea of being able to provide more projects for you avid stampers out there that really want to have more ideas, create more, but then still have something in the end, the bundle, the product, the suite, to create more on your own as well. Okay? So my very first one is using products out of the Fine Art Floral Suite. It's on page 32 of the Spring Mini Catalog, and it runs through page 33 and 34, okay? While I love all of these products, and I've been playing with all of them, this retreat in a box focuses mostly on the stamp set and the die bundle, some of the Designer Series paper, which is absolutely gorgeous. There's also a Golden Garden, they're calling it, Designer Specialty Acetate. And then there's also this gorgeous painted textured 3D embossing folder. So those are kind of the things I'm going to focus on in here. I may in the near future do a little how-to video on the gilded leafing embellishment. And you use heat and bond powder with that. There's also a nice little ribbon that's in this suite as well. I've had lots of interest in the gold gilded leafing. But let's focus a little bit here on the stamp set. And it is a photopolymer stamp set. It's a set of 15, and it has just these gorgeous, almost watercolory image flowers. And it also utilizes two-step stamping. So you have this gorgeous blossom here that is a two-step stamp. There's a little single accent one over here that can easily be used as a center or by itself. There are two different stems in this bundle. One is just an individual stem. One actually has some greenery here, but then also has some flowers on it. And then this little one down here is also another center or an accent that works really well with this one, but also works well with the large one as well. One of the other things that I cannot get enough of this set, and I've been going to these sentiments like crazy, because they cover all the occasions you could ever want to create for. So I miss you. Happy birthday. Congratulations. Good luck. Sorry. Thank you. Best wishes. You are loved, and I'm thinking of you. And they're just a plain, simple font, which I really like because you have all these beautiful, gorgeous flowers, and that just plain, simple font across it is just stunning, okay? So it bundles with the floral dies, and these coordinate with stamps here, these 4 here, but then you also get these cool words. It says, just want to say. So obviously you can mix and match those up with any of these sentiments from the front to create exactly what you're looking for. And then they have 2 little nice scallop edge label dies there that will coordinate and fit the sentiments from this set as well. Okay? Now, in addition, I told you to the stamp set, let me tell you, the bundle actually sells for $50.25, okay? So, in addition to that is this gorgeous Floral Gallery Designer Series paper, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of straighten it all up so you can just see one at a time here, because I really want you to take this in, how beautiful it is, okay? Just these beautiful watercolor images of these gorgeous flowers. The colors are similar, but they're also quite different. The patterns. And if you look and see the colors that coordinate with this paper, it's a wide array of Stampin' UP colors that coordinate with this. This happens to be one of my absolute favorites right here. Okay, so as always, there's 6 designs, and you'll get 2 sheets of each of those. Now, excuse me, there is also this gold gilded acetate that coordinates with this suite and some of this paper. So let me begin by showing you. You first have this paper. It's almost kind of like a mosaic. You know what I'm just realizing? I forgot to show you the back sides of this paper. So the back side is pretty simple, pretty plain, but it is kind of just a geometrical, some of them, kind of a little design, kind of like a little whitewash or a paint textured kind of look to the back sides. Obviously in the same colors as the front so that you can mix and match them, but a little more plain on the back. And in my mind, I use them, but in my mind then it doesn't make me quite feel so guilty in using this beautiful floral side then. I always feel like we're wasting a side with designer series paper. So now back to the acetate. So this acetate has kind of a fun pattern to it. I'm going to go ahead and put that like that because I think it'll show it a little bit better. There's this one that is actually kind of a mosaic, and there's a gold side to this, or if you flip it over, there is a silver side to it. So really fun and very versatile with your projects, okay? In addition to that pattern, there are 2 other patterns, and they actually coordinate with some of the designer series paper. So you have this one here, and if I lay it right here on top of this paper and line it up perfectly like this, you'll see how that gold just lays right on top of those flowers and is a beautiful accent to that, okay? Absolutely gorgeous. So, and I have some projects here in my box that will show this off. The 3rd sheet of acetate actually coordinates with this piece of designer series paper. Again, very easy to line up those flowers with that beautiful gold accent over the top of that. Just makes for a stunning card. Again, just like the first piece I showed you, both these last 2 have a back silver side. So that makes it very versatile for you. You can use silver or you can use the gold. Okay? All right, so that's the designer series paper. And then the other thing I wanted to show you that is part of my box out of this retreat is the textured 3D embossing folder. And it has a little yellow sticker so you know it requires that special plate to go through your die cut machine. But I'm slowly falling in love with this. This is a almost like a paint spackle kind of look or texture on a wall. Just gorgeous, and coordinates so well with all these flowers. Okay? All right, so let's get started. So what will your stamp retreat in a box look like when it comes to you? Well, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to be in a nice little box here for you. I have a beautiful little labels I had made that say Dawn's Ink It Up Stamp Retreat in a Box with your address on it. So it'll all be inclusive in this great little box. So all you'll need is some scissors here, and go ahead and we'll just kind of go down the side there, and let's see what's inside. When you open your box, there will be a little thank you from me, and a little card and a little sticker that says thank you. So I appreciate your support and your business. And when you open it, you will find all of your beautiful pre-cut, scored cardstocks, designer series paper, the embellishments. Everything will be pre-measured and ready to go for the projects for this box. And this box actually includes 8 any occasion cards and envelopes, 2 3D projects using the treat boxes, and I've included the treats. You can see I have some little Ferrero Rocher chocolates over here for you. And then with the purchase of this box, you would also be able to choose 1 celebration product at the level 1. Okay, so a $50 purchase. The whole retreat in a box with the projects and the art gallery bundle, this photopolymer stamp set and dies, is $75, and it's available until January 31st, okay? If you're interested in purchasing it, let me know. You can email me, contact me, or send me a message on Facebook, okay? So all your projects, this is one of the 3D projects. I have it in a little clear cello bag here for you so that all the pieces are together. And then each of the 8 card projects I have all the supplies stuffed in an envelope so that you have your envelope ready to send your card as well, okay? So let's get started. I'm going to do a quick little demo of all the projects in this kit. Some are simpler than others. But I'm going to start first with the 3D projects. So if you're watching this and you already have your retreat in a box, pull out your little cellophane packet that has your 3D projects. And you'll find supplies in here to create 2, okay? Right now, I am just going to attempt to pull out the supplies for 1, okay? I need that little piece right there. How great is this? It's all cut, all prepared, ready for you. So Stampin' Up! Has these great little clear acetate treat boxes, and they measure 2 by 2, perfect square cube, and they are so useful for many different little things to give. Of course, I always think of giving candy or chocolate or something like that in them. And I think this would actually be, even though it's not Valentine-y colors, I think this would be a great little Valentine give to somebody. So each little box you receive will have some clear plastic cellophane. That kind of keeps the box from getting scratched. So go ahead and peel that off first. And then to actually assemble the box, all you do is fold it back against itself there, just like that. And then if you flip it over, you'll have some tabs here at the bottom. What I try to do is kind of go through and just bend all of them first, because it just makes it a little bit easier to put it together then. Now there's 2 little smaller ones. There's one with a tab, and then there's one with kind of a cutout. And so I always put the one with the cutout down first, the one that has kind of a little U in it. Then you'll put these side pieces down in, and as you do that, they will interlock into that U, just like that, okay? Now this one that has more of kind of a point here, go ahead and then you're going to tuck that right down into the U, okay? And there you have your box, okay? Sometimes it helps if your hand's on the inside there kind of helping it, okay? And it just makes it such a sturdy little base there, okay? Your top, obviously, you'll go ahead and fold these down. I'll go ahead and just kind of give those a little bit of a fold on that score line. It's already in the box. And then it also has a little tab here too. I'll go ahead and just bend and fold that so we'll have all of our folds done, okay? I think the first thing I'm going to do is you have 2 little small squares of the Designer Series paper. And one side we're going to use the floral print side, and the other side we're going to use that beautiful paint splotched side, okay? So the flowery side, I'm going to go ahead and just put some glue, some of my mono-adhesive multi-purpose glue, and that is actually going to go on the inside of your box. We're going to put some things up here on top, and I just love this trick to be able to cover the back side of what we're going to put on the front of this, okay? And we'll let that dry a little bit in there. Now I'm going to take and put just the painted swish side right here up on top, and that's going to become our background to our top side, okay? I'm going to go ahead, close this up, I think, and I think those little flaps will provide a nice little support to that inside piece while it dries, so it'll dry nice and flat on there, okay? So let's go ahead and place that here. And then we're just going to set this aside and let this dry. And what I might do is just go ahead and take an ink pad, and I'm just going to set that right up on top of that box just to let that stick and help that dry. Now, you're going to have a strip of, I told you already this was my favorite pattern in this DSP. You're going to have a strip here. It's going to be one score line already done for you, okay? And it should be folded. I did that so that way it would fit into the box better. You'll have a little metallic strip, and the little metallic strip comes from the foil papers from the Love You Always suite. And then you'll have a little piece of white strip scrap that will be your sentiment. You'll have some pool party mesh ribbon here, and then you'll have a larger piece of Whisper White. And sorry, it's not Whisper White. It's now Basic White. I need to like get in the habit of this, using the right term. Excuse me. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take the large blossom from the set, also the coordinating two-step stamp blossom, and we're going to use what you might think are kind of some different colors. I'm going to pull in my Bumblebee ink pad, and I'm going to pull in my Poppy Parade ink pad. And these would both be add-on items to this retreat box. Okay? We're going to go ahead and take the solid image flower, and I'm going to ink that up in the Bumblebee. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I got a dry catch. Ink that up, and we're going to actually do 2 of these. And I am kind of keeping them down to one side of my paper here. And then the next one I'm going to stamp is in the Poppy Parade. And these line up perfectly. They're photopolymer so that I can see exactly where I'm going over the top there. The little photopolymer is great. The other thing with photopolymer, remember, you really want a nice smooth surface when you're stamping with it. Sometimes it's not very forgiving. And you will see a little bit of the inking won't ink real well, a real solid image, okay? But those turn out beautiful. I do have a nice flat surface. Remember, I've talked about one of our black Stamparatus pads, and I have a little blotter then on top of it that you obviously can stamp on as well, okay? Now, there are dies in this bundle that coordinate with these flowers, and so you'll go to your die cut machine, and you'll take the die, and you'll cut out 2 of those flowers. And then for this particular project, I want you to grab this die, and you're going to take one of the blooms that comes off the die, and when you run this through your die cut machine, just make sure that one of them is overlapped down here over the Whisper White piece at the end. You're going to want one of those flowers to use in our little stack here on top as well of our box, okay? And once you do that, you will end up with this here. You'll have the 2 flowers, and then this is that one of that little flowers off of that stem die. You're going to take your paper snips, and you're going to go in here, and you're going to need to trim off some of the extra that's hanging off the edge here, okay? Just like that. Now, one of the things I did to just give this flower a little more interest, because it's kind of plain white, remember this cute little small accent stamp that's in the bundle? I went ahead and took that with the Night of Navy ink, and I'm just going to stamp right on top of that, and just give that little white flower just a little bit of something there, okay? Now, to build our flower for the top of the box, I'm just going to put a little bit of snail. I'm sorry, this isn't snail. We don't even have snail anymore. I'm going to go ahead and take my multi-purpose glue, put that on there, and then my top flower, I'm actually going to take my bone folder and pull on some of these little petals around here just to give that a little more dimension before I place it down. You also can stagger it. I kind of keep the point together down here, but you can stagger the petals out here that will make your flower feel a little bit bigger. Okay. And then this little white guy with our little navy stamping on it is just going to sit right down here. Okay. Again, I could take my bone folder and bring some of those edges up. I can also use my fingertips here. Okay. Just to give it a little more dimension. It's on the top of a box, so it's kind of fun. Now, your little sentiment strip, I'm doing a thank you. The great thing about this little set is that you have so many sentiments to pick and choose from, so you can really customize your projects to exactly what your needs are, okay? I went ahead and I have two little dimensionals on the back side of that. I'm going to stack that right there on top of that piece of beautiful foil paper. Give myself a little pennant cut there at each end. Notice how I'm not cutting it too short. I want quite a bit of that metallic, or as much of that metallic paper to show as it can. Okay, and then I'm going to take my multi-purpose glue on the back side there, and it is actually just going to get layered right down here at the base of that flower. And I kind of use the bottom of that white flower as my guide where to line up the bottom of my sentiment strip. Okay? Go ahead and let that set for a little bit. We'll let that dry, and we'll go back to our box here. Okay? Now, your strip that you have, like I said, is already scored for you. I would place that score line, what I call, on the back of the box. This is where the hinge is. Okay? And I'm going to bring this side around. As I hold this over here in place, I'm going to bring this side around and just kind of create a crease. I thought about pre-scoring these for you, but I just never can seem to get them to fit as nice as if I just custom score them myself here like this. Okay? Keep going around till you have all four sides just like that. All right? Now, for the sake of time, you could use your liquid glue, but I'm going to go ahead and pull in my Stampin' Seal Plus. It's a perfect adhesive for a project like this. It holds a little stronger. It works beautiful on 3D projects, okay? I'm also going to give myself just a hint of adhesive on 1-2 of those other squares in my strip here, okay? It will just help it hold into place quite a bit better, okay? So I'm going to take that and center it on my box top to bottom, and then go ahead and continue to wrap it around. And your backs should meet fairly nice on the tops and bottoms, and then go ahead and press. And press on your sides then so those little adhesives can stick on the side of the clear. Okay, so we have a nice little wrap around here on our box. Now I'm going to go ahead and open that lid, and the next thing I want to do is place my gorgeous Pool Party sheer ribbon, okay? And I'm just going to place that right around the inside there. Go ahead, put my flaps back down, close my box back up. It just helps hold it a little bit better. You know what I should do to give it just a little bit of weight? I'm going to go back into my box, your little Stamp Retreat box, and you have 2 little Rocher chocolate hazelnut candies in here, and go ahead and throw those in your box, okay? That's what those are for. You have 2 for each project, okay? Go ahead and close this up. Whoops, it's giving me a fit here. There we go. And then I want this to tie in a bow, but I'm going to tie it over here to the left-hand side of my lid, okay? Sometimes people find if you tie a knot first, then it just helps hold the ribbon in place so much nicer. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that to the side there. And then I'm actually going to turn it so that I'm working over the edge of the box here so that my tails will hang off the side of the box and not be hidden under my flower, because I'm going to place my flower right there on the top, okay? I love this ribbon. It really works nicely. It's very manageable with your hands and ties just a beautiful bow. Go ahead and trim off my ends there. Now, to attach this piece, I am going to use some dimensionals. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put 2 regular dimensionals on this just so that it holds it really well. And then it just kind of gets snuck in here just like this. Some of it may overhang a little bit. That's just fine. And some of it might go over your ribbon a little bit there. And I think that's just fine as well. But a cute little something something to give somebody as a nice little surprise or a nice little gift. Okay? And like I said, of course, your box retreat box will come with enough supplies so that you can create 2 of these. Okay? Aren't they adorable? So cute. Okay, on to the 8 cards that are in this kit. Okay? The next one is this one here. You pull your supplies out. This one's actually a fairly simple, easy card here. You don't need much, like I said, with this beautiful, beautiful paper. Go ahead, and I'm going to grab my Stampin' Seal and give myself a little bit of adhesive on your white piece, your basic white piece that you get. And that's going to be your inside piece to your card. You're welcome to stamp any of these gorgeous, beautiful flowers from this set inside if you'd like. I felt like you want to customize anything. That's one of the other great things about having it in a box in a kit like this. You get to make it and create it exactly the way you would want it for whatever you're creating for. So I'm going to pull in my paper cutter here, and you're going to have a piece of DSP and a piece of that beautiful paper, the acetate on top, and it will coordinate perfectly with the image. I have this cut 4x4 for you. And you're welcome to use the gold or the silver side of this. I think the gold side looks beautiful with this pink. And I'm going to decide what my top is and what my bottom is. And off the bottom, I'm going to take my paper trimmer, and then you will do this as well. This will not come pre-cut for you. You'll get your 4x4 piece, and then you can cut it. Let me come up here so you can actually see what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and put it over here to the right, 1 inch on my paper cutter. And I'm going to go ahead and cut both of them at the same time. Now, I've been finding that when I'm cutting with my trimmer, I've been using the score and the cutter at the same time. It's just habit for me now that I do both of them. I've been finding sometimes you can get a little ridge or a little tattered edge, and so it seems to alleviate that perfectly. So if you're having that problem, go ahead and try that, and then let me know. Get back to me and let me know if that's working. So to attach these together, I don't want to use a lot of adhesive because it's going to show through, right? So I'm going to be real careful how much adhesive I have on there. For the sake of time, I think there's a clear film on here too that you can peel off. I don't see any edges starting to fray on this, so I'm going to go ahead. If you do on yours, feel free to take that and just pull that clear film off. Right now, I'm not seeing. I really have to work to get that off, so I think I'm good. I'm just going to take my multi-purpose glue, and I'm strategically going to place it behind on an area that I see has some of the foil print, okay? And it doesn't take much. This acetate sticks beautifully with just a little bit of adhesive, okay? I'm going to take that back down, line my pieces flush to the bottom of my table there before I gently just press that down, okay? I'm going to do the same thing with this little 1-inch piece that we cut off. Just a little dab will do you here. That's an old saying, isn't it? Same thing. We're going to go ahead, lay that flush against my table there, and then just lay it back on itself and gently press, okay? Now, there's a, we'll let those dry a little bit. There's a sentiment strip in your packet, and again, it's one of those times you can feel free to use whichever sentiments you want out of the set. I actually am going to use the I'm Thinking of You. I've gone ahead and stamped that up. I'm always looking for this sentiment for cards to send to people, so I can never have too many of those. So the next thing we want to do is place some dimensionals behind our DSP here. And the top one I am going to give it 4, and the bottom one I'm going to give it 2. Now these boxes will not include adhesive, so you should have some dimensionals, some snail, multi-purpose glue, glue dots. Those kinds of things would be good little staples just to have in your stamp stash anytime, but then yes, to complete my retreat box. I'm going to go ahead and lay this towards the top of my card, but I'm leaving a little bit of a margin up there. And then I'm going to go ahead and put, I'll go ahead and use the multi-purpose glue. It's just a little faster. Go ahead and put just a little bit of that on there lightly. That's going to go on next. And just a hair of that is going to tuck underneath that top piece. Make sure you're matched up from side to side there. And then your bottom piece, same thing. It's going to overlap that white piece just a little bit there. And make sure you're matched up side to side before you lay it down. And what a beautiful, simple card. But absolutely stunning. I don't know if the gold is showing in the video, but oh, just beautiful, but plain and simple card for you. Okay? Okay, that's project 1. Project 2, same thing. You have your nice envelope here with all your supplies in it. This one has a Poppy Parade base that's kind of cut weird here, but I'll show you a fun little fold we're going to do with this one. You'll also have another smaller piece of Poppy Parade. You'll have a sentiment strip. You'll have a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 basic white cardstock, and that is actually your center. So I'm going to go ahead, pull that flap up on the card, and then this is the center of your card, just like that. Okay. Then you're also going to have another piece of basic white cardstock. I think this measures 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. You'll have a piece of that beautiful Designer Series paper. Again, the second pattern that matches up with one of the acetate sheets. And then you're going to have a piece of acetate that I will punch with the stitched circle die for you. And it will coordinate and lay perfectly right on top of the DSP back behind. Okay, kind of similar to the first one. We're going to go ahead and take our multi-purpose glue and just strategically place it around to be able to hold that little piece of acetate on there. And again, lay that down so that it matches on top of the flowers behind, and it should center fairly well on your square. Again, I'm using the gold. I think the gold looks stunning with this paper, but the silver looks just as gorgeous, so feel free to change that up a little bit too if you'd like to. All right, so now on my 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 basic white piece, I'm going to go ahead and throw some Stampin' Seal down, and I'm going to layer that. You should have a nice little 1/4 of an inch all the way around, just like that. Being careful not to move that. Now the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and flip this piece over, and I'm going to place 4 dimensionals on the back side. And this time I'm going to pay a little bit more attention and make sure that I do keep them on the top and bottom of my paper, okay? And I want them in the corners as well, all right? Now I'm going to grab that base piece back in here. I have a little flap that's here. Go ahead and fold that down. Your little smaller piece of Poppy Parade cardstock is actually going to sit down here at the bottom, and it needs to be flush with the bottom of your card here, okay? So make sure that those are lined up along the sides and along that bottom edge. Go ahead and hold that with your right hand as you pick this guy up. I've got to take my stickers off. We'll get them off here, one-handed. And then this is going to get attached to both of these card base pieces here. And it's kind of one of those split cards that I just love. I did try to center it top to bottom and side to side. And by placing your inside Whisper White piece in there, you really can see exactly where you're at. So if you put that in first, I think you'll have better luck with lining that up. Okay, isn't that pretty? So then you have a sentiment strip as well. Again, you can choose and make whichever sentiment you want for this card. I decided again to do the Thinking of You, and I am going to go ahead and put some mini dimensionals on the back side of that. I think this sentiment strip is just a titch longer than what I intended for it to be, so I'm going to, if yours is, all we need to do is just trim it up. Go ahead and center that. Top to bottom, side to side. These cards are simple, but they're just stunning with that paper. So I can go in here, flip it over just like that, and I can trim off the extras. So if your little strips are a little too long, remember, you can always trim them. Okay, and there you have. Okay, again, if you want to stamp the envelope with some of those gorgeous flowers, please do. It'll add so much. But again, a simple card, but very effective. Okay? All right, on to card 3. Card 3 is this one. Again, pretty simple. Again, we have a nice little whisper white piece for your inside. I'll go ahead and place that in here. Again, you could stamp on this if you wanted to give it a little bit of something something. You could put another sentiment on the inside if you want to. I have this gorgeous blue. I just think this looks gorgeous on here. And this just gets Stampin' Seal on it. And it's going to get layered right on top, centered. It's cut 4 by 5 1/4, so it's going to lay perfectly right there on the base of your card. And then you have a sentiment strip here. And so I went ahead and stamped this one up as well, and I decided to make this card a happy birthday card. I did do something a little bit different just to give this strip a little more interest, and then I took it and I placed it in the textured embossing folder. So I stamped the sentiment first, and then I took the embossing folder and lined up the edge right there next to my sentiment, and then go ahead, close that up, run that through your die cut emboss machine, and when it comes out, you just kind of have a nice little texture at the end of this strip here. Okay? It just adds a little something to it, something a little different. I'm going to go ahead and place some mini dimensionals on this little strip, and I am going to go ahead and use 3 because it is a 4-inch strip. It goes across the whole card here. And again, a very simple but beautiful card because that paper is doing all the work for you. Okay, just like that. Okay, nice, simple birthday card right there. Kind of the same idea with card number 4. Again, using some of that gorgeous designer series paper. I have this one has vanilla, except it's not, is it vanilla? I think it still is vanilla. Basic vanilla. Cream, I'm not sure, sorry. I haven't gotten through all my Whisper White paper, to be honest. I'm still using it, but yes, I will. I bought some, and I'm going to be playing with the new basic colors papers for Stampin' Up, so I will get back to you on that. All right, just like the last card, go ahead and add your inside piece. I have this piece of designer series paper that's cut 4 by 5 1/4, so it fits perfectly beautiful on that Night of Navy base cardstock. You have a nice little sentiment strip, and then you have a piece of that kind of that mosaic little design acetate in this one. Okay, now this one I thought with the navy it was really pretty to use the silver side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. My sentiment strip is going to go across this, so I can be a little more generous with my glue and not worry that it's going to show. And I'm going to go ahead, that should be cut perfectly 5 1/4. It will go right across there perfectly. And then my sentiment strip would lay here. I went ahead and I prepared one, and I made this one a thank you. And I did that same trick I did on the last one where I took the embossing folder and put part of that in there just to give that little strip a little texture. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and throw some dimensionals on here. Whoops, sorry. Sorry if I jiggled you there. All right, and then this just gets centered right here. Just like that, okay? Another beautiful, stunning card. Simple, but again, that paper's doing all that work for you. I'm so sorry for coughing. I swear I don't have COVID. Not funny. Okay, the next piece I have is basic white, and then I have a piece of Bumblebee, and it will already be pre-scored for you. These are scored at 2 1/8 on each side, and this becomes a gatefold card, okay? You're going to take your larger piece of basic white, And of course, the one time I don't have anything to drink next to me. Go ahead and lay that in there. I think I do. Okay, I have one last little swallow of tea over here. Okay, so you have a little piece of white here, and then you have 2 strips of DSP here. These are going to get placed on each side. We're going to do kind of a little trick with these, though. You're going to pull your paper cutter back in, and you're going to take, this one's going to be placed over here on this left side. Off the top of it, you're going to take and trim off 1 inch. Okay? And then this other piece is going to be over on this side. You're going to take down here at the bottom, and you're going to cut off 1 inch. Okay? Now, I also noticed that both of these are right at 2 inches. Yes, 2 inches. Okay, so keeping track of what's what from which side, go ahead and we'll put just a little bit. I'm just going to use the multi-purpose glue here because it's quicker. Go ahead and place that at the top here. You should have about 1/4 inch from the top, but the sides will be very snug. Okay, you'll have very little cardstock sticking out either side here. Go ahead and place this here. And you're going to leave yourself just a little strip right there, okay? I just think this gives this card just a little more interest. Now, on this side, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to place this strip up here at the top. And then your little space that you're leaving is going to be down here at the bottom on this side. Okay, just like that. Okay? Now, you'll also have a couple pieces of rich raspberry, a couple little strips here, and then you're going to have another little sentiment strip as well. Okay? Your little piece of basic white here, it's like a little scrap piece. You're going to take that die from the bundle that says just want to say and go over to your die cut machine and cut that out. Okay? Once you have that cut out, you will have this here. Okay? Now, I left this way because I wanted to point out a couple of things. These words are fabulous. They punch out beautifully. Make sure you save that little dot for your J. But then the reverse image of this, if you save the centers of the A, the center of the O, and then that little bit for the Y, you can take and use this on a second card you might want to make. Okay? So again, just save those little pieces, and then it might be a little more tedious to glue those into your card, but I think those would be beautiful on there. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead. And I'm going to pop these up on some dimensionals. I'm just going to put one on each side here. These little strips just kind of added a little more color to this card and just gave it a little more interest, I thought. Now your strips might be just a titch long, but you can trim those extras off. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Place this here like this. And yep, our strip's a little long there. So we'll take our paper snips. I always find if I reverse and flip it over, I can see and trim just a little nicer from the back side. Okay? So that's what I've done. Okay, just like that. All right, isn't that cute? Now we're going to start to put our words on. Obviously, you can play around with these, and you can do these however you would like. I thought it was cute to have the just layered over the top of that rich raspberry piece. So I put just a titch of multi-purpose glue. Remember, you don't need a lot. It's just paper. Right there like that. I'm leaving just a little bit of room there for my dot from my J. I feel like it's a little easier to put the glue down first. There you go. And then kind of play around with how you think you want the rest of these. I think the want fits here nicely. You have to tilt it just a little bit to make it fit. Or if you need to, you could very easily trim some of that T off there to help it fit. The 2 obviously looks really nice over here. And then I'm going to put the say there. So let's get some glue on the back side of it. I just wanted to kind of line them up to know how they were going to fit on there. And again, I love this. It's just general, just want to, and any of the sentiments in this bundle work perfectly with this. I've also seen some cards people are just putting just to say and leaving the want out. So obviously you could do that as well. Now for this one, I thought this was cute. I actually, like I said, I'm always needing thank yous, birthdays, thinking of you. So I chose for this one to be a birthday card. So I took the birthday sentiment from this set, stamped it on the little strip that I gave you there, and it's going to get layered down here on this other piece of rich raspberry, okay? Just like that. So isn't that cute? I just think that turned out really nice and a little bit different of a fold, a gatefold for you, but very bright, colorful. Again, that paper is just stunning, okay? All right, on to the next card. We have this one here. And this one has a crumb cake base. You'll also have 2 pieces of 4 by 5 1/4 basic white cardstock. One will get placed on the inside of your card. Actually, I think I made these a touch smaller. This card looks like they are 5 by 3 3/4, okay? You have 2 of those. One piece I took and I ran through the textured embossing folder that goes with this suite. Obviously, any embossing folder would work, okay? But I just love this folder with this suite of products. You'll have a piece of Poppy Parade. Again, I ran that through the folder as well, okay? I'm going to take and put some multi-purpose glue on the back side of this and center it. And again, this is the same size as the piece that's on the inside. It just shows a little bit more of that craft cardstock there. And then I'm going to go ahead, and this is just going to get placed along the kind of the lower half here. Make sure it's straight. There we go. Hard for me to see directly over the camera there. You'll have another piece of basic white, and you'll have a little sentiment strip as well, okay? So we're going to stamp some of the flowers on here. Bear with me, because you will want a chamois when you are doing these projects, because you use so many different colors. So I'm over here cleaning these off from the first card we made. Let's do that again there. And on your strip here, we're going to use Flirty Flamingo. And we're going to use that gorgeous Poppy Parade again. Okay. The solid flower here is going to get the Poppy Parade. Okay. And I'm going to pull in my stamp mat again. Right there like that. And I'm going to stamp this kind of towards one end here of my scrap strip. Again, because these are solid images, really take your time, press, and give that paper time to soak up that ink. People get in such a big hurry, but go nice and slow, okay? Isn't that gorgeous? Now I'm going to take the other coordinating double stamp and dip it in the Poppy Parade. I just love these colors together. Go ahead and line that up. When I'm lining these up, I'm looking down here at that bottom edge, okay? They line up beautifully. You can see that just right, and the rest of that just falls into place exactly where it should be. Okay? Now, gorgeous, right? Actually, kind of reminds you of some Valentine colors, I think. So there's a gorgeous stem in this stamp set as well, and I'm going to pull in my Mossy Meadow and ink it up. And that's going to get stamped down here at the other end of our scrap piece. Okay, just like that. And there are dies, you already know, that coordinate with that flower. It's going to be this large one here that you're going to cut out. But there's also one here with the stem that coordinates as well. Okay, so you'll take that to your die cut machine and you'll cut those out. And once you do, you will have this. Okay, now your sentiment strip, I would go ahead and stamp your sentiment there. And then I did take and use, depending on which sentiment you use, one of the sentiment strip scallop edge here to punch that out. Okay, so again, I put a couple dimensionals on the back side of it. We'll pull in our card here. And I'm going to go ahead, and I think I'm going to place my stem down first and leaves. I'm going to go ahead and just give myself a little bit of glue on each side there. And that's going to just kind of get placed right over here. I'm going to go ahead with my finger and just bring those tips of those leaves up just a little bit to give it a little bit of dimension. And then for my flower, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to place one dimensional right there. I'm going to take my bone folder again and just go around between my thumb and the bone folder and curl up the edges of that just to give that a little more pop off the card. And then that is just going to get placed perfectly right here. And I do like to tuck that blossom underneath those leaves there. I just think it helps show off that leafy stem nicer. So little dimensionals on the back of my sentiment strip, and then that's going to get overlapped just a titch over that leaf. Love the Poppy Parade and Mossy Meadow together. You're going to have a little piece of linen thread in your box, and we're going to go ahead and just tie ourselves a quick little bow with it. And then I'm going to grab a glue dot. Remember, your glue dot was something small like this. You can actually take it and just kind of scrunch it together and place it over here on the stem of my flower. Thought that just needed a little something there. Okay. If you don't want your tails as long, obviously you can trim those off. Okay. Isn't that cute? I think that's so cute. Plain and simple, but a very cute, nice thank you card. Okay. All right, on to our next project. So our next one is kind of like a little bit of a fun fold. Bear with me again. I'm going to clean off some stamps here quick for this next one because we're going to use some of those same ones. Your supplies for this one have a pool party base like this, and it will be scored down the middle here at 4 1/4, but you will also have another score line here at 2 1/8. Okay, so it's going to be folded for you this way when you get it. Go ahead then and fold back on that other score line. Okay, give yourself a nice little crisp fold with the bone folder, just like that. Okay, now you're also going to have a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of Whisper White. Again, that's going to be your inside piece. So I'm going to go ahead and place that in first. just like that, okay? You have a beautiful piece of that pool party ribbon again. And then you'll have some various pieces of cardstock here. You'll have a piece of Pear Pizzazz. There is a coordinating piece of Night of Navy. Then you'll have a coordinating piece of Basic White. So make sure you pull these three out first because they layer together, okay? Then you'll have two more, what I'm calling scrappy pieces of Basic White. And on one of them, I want you to stamp this image all in Pear Pizzazz, okay? It's this stamped image here, okay? And then Pool Party is going to be used to stamp another one of those same flower sprigs on your other piece of Basic White cardstock. Again, solid images. I'm giving my paper plenty of time, don't rush it, to pick up that ink, okay? All right, so this one's stamped in Pear Pizzazz, and then I stamped it again in Pool Party. Then I'm going to grab my Night of Navy, and there's that cute little small accent flower center that I'm going to take on the Pool Party stamped image and go ahead, and that should lay perfectly on the tops of all these little flowers. I think they're tulips. They look like tulips to me. It's hard to say. Just like that, okay? So you'll end up with these two. Now, there is a die in your bundle that will punch these out, okay? So you'll take over to your die cut machine, you'll punch this one out, and you'll punch this one out, okay? Once you're done, you will have this, okay? You'll have your green one, you'll have your nice little Pool Party one. This white piece here that layers, I went ahead and ran through again that textured 3D embossing folder, but if you don't have that, obviously you could use any embossing folder for that, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, we're going to begin to build our card. I'm going to go ahead and attach my Night of Navy piece here to my Pear Pizzazz. They should layer beautifully with about 1/4 of an inch around each side. I'm going to take that smaller piece of Basic White here that I've run through the embossing folder, and that's going to get layered here right on top. Okay? Just like that. Now, let's play with these pieces. What I want to do is grab my Pear Pizzazz piece. I'm going to come in here, and I'm actually going to cut those flowers off, just retaining the stem. And we're not going to need those flowers, okay? Those flowers can be tossed. Go ahead and give yourself a nice little straight, smooth edge here on that stem. Okay, just like that. And then what I'm going to do, and it doesn't matter, you can put adhesive on the back of your green one, or you can put adhesive on the back of your Pool Party one. I find that it works a little bit better to put it on the back of the Pool Party one. Okay, so I'm just going to come in here and just put a little bit of adhesive all around there. I should have my silicone mat down in case any of the adhesive comes off. There we go. And then this piece is just going to get laid right on top. Now, if you don't feel comfortable doing that and laying it on top, obviously you could cut the Pool Party stem and leaves off, and you could just line these up on your card. I kind of like the idea that it lines up perfectly on there then. Okay? All right, so on the back side of this, it's a couple dimensionals. I'll go ahead and put one down here on the leaf. I got mini ones on there, and then I'll go ahead and throw a regular size one on there. Now, before we get too ahead of ourselves here, I have a little bit of ribbon. Remember this gorgeous Pool Party ribbon that I'm going to wrap around here like this. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and tie myself a knot. We are going to tie a bow, but just to get it on here and have it in place, I'm just going to go ahead and tie a little knot. Okay, just like that along the side, okay? So I have it wrapped around that piece, but then it's tied over here to the far left, okay? And then we'll go ahead and we will lay our beautiful little flower arrangement on there. I'm kind of keeping it a little off to the left because then we have a sentiment. You'll have a sentiment strip in your kit. And I'm going to go ahead and I have a dimensional just on one side because the other side here is going to actually lay over, well, maybe I will. I guess a little dimensional will fit because it's going to straddle that leaf there. You see how yours works? But yeah, it is. It's going to straddle that down there at the bottom just fine. We'll go ahead and place this across. I'll leave it right there on the white. I want more of my leaf to show. You guys do what you want. Again, you could use any sentiment you want for this. I happen to do, I thought this was a cute birthday card, okay? Now, I want to put some dimensionals on the back side here, and I want to make sure that I just put them over here on one side. This part is going to get attached to our card, okay? So the far left where the ribbon knot is where you're going to put 2 dimensionals. If you feel more secure using 3, you certainly can. And then this is going to get laid right there on top. And it's just kind of a little Z-fold card, fun little layer, a fun little fold, just kind of way it pops out that way. All right? And then from the side here, I am going to go ahead and just tie a bow. And if I turn the card to the side like this and tie the bow from the side, it's kind of like that first little box we made. The bow and the tails should both come out over here. This one's actually going to go up over the top, but I don't mind. Okay, pull that nice and tight. If your loops are a little big, go ahead and pull on your tails and bring them down just a little bit. That guy doesn't want to behave. There we go. Okay, really cute. I like this ribbon. It lays nice and flat too, and fits in an envelope really nice. Trim your tails off there, and there you go. Okay, there's our 7th card already. Okay, really cute, right? Okay, our last card in this retreat is a rich raspberry base. Absolutely gorgeous, right? You're going to have a piece of bumblebee and a piece of vanilla that coordinate beautifully with just 1/4 of an inch around the edge, so keep those together. You'll have a piece of vanilla that measures 4 by 5 1/4, and that becomes your inside piece. We'll go ahead, stamp and seal on that, and place that right there on the inside. Then you'll have a little bit larger piece of very vanilla, and this is going to be our stamping piece, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pull in. Wash them off again, clean them. Our solid big image here, and then our 2-step stamping one here. We're actually going to use all of them on this card. So let me clean a few more of them up here. That little small center one, that little sprig one with the green stem on it. And then we're going to pull in this other little single stamp as well. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, I'm going to use my rich raspberry, and I'm going to grab that solid floral image again, ink it up in rich raspberry, and instead of placing it directly down on my paper, I'm going to go ahead here on my blotter, my scrap piece, and get a lot of that ink off, and then come over here and put it on my vanilla piece. Okay? Notice it's just one shade lighter. Then I'll take my accent stamp for that big flower, ink it up in Rich Raspberry again, and go ahead and stamp it directly to my vanilla. And you see what's going to happen? You're going to have kind of this two-tone flower here. Okay, gorgeous, right? All right, now the other things that we're going to need for this particular card are a set of those little 3 flowers with the stem, okay? And we're going to do kind of like what we did with the last card. I stamped them in 2 different colors so that I could give those stems some green, and that's what we're going to do with this one as well. We're going to go ahead and stamp one here in Rich Raspberry. Uh-oh, I should have stamped that off. What we're going to do, I'm going to flip it over and go right over. I'm on the same, oh guys, just did the same thing. Oh my gosh, my last card, I'm getting excited. Okay, stop. I'm inking it up. I'm going to do like I did the first time. Stamp it off onto my blotter, and then it's going to come over here and get stamped onto your vanilla, okay? Pretend like this one's not here, okay? I can't stop my video. I'm almost all the way through it, just like that, okay? So then take that little small accent center flower in Rich Raspberry and come in here and give those beautiful flowers some of that texture there, okay? Now, let me clean that little bouquet stamp there like that. And then we're going to grab our Mossy Meadow. And our Mossy Meadow piece, or one, is going to get stamped directly to the paper. All we need off this really is those stems and those leaves, okay? So I'm just going to work from the top corner up here, making sure that those are getting on my paper. If the flowers go off, I don't care. I'm not going to use those, okay? With my mistake here, though, you probably will have room to stamp the whole thing if you need to or want to, okay? All right, there you go. See, there's always where there's a will, there's a way, right? Okay, now we're going to grab that other little single flower, or it can be used also as an accent on these larger blooms, but we're going to use it as its own little flower, and I'm going to pull in some bumblebee ink for it. Again, I'm going to ink it up, stamp it off on my blotter, and then come over here and stamp it on my vanilla piece. Stamp off on my blotter, and then stamp off on my blotter piece. I'm going to go clean this little guy. I want to make sure I get him really clean because he just had Rich Raspberry on him. And I don't want any Rich Raspberry in my Bumblebee yellow ink pad. Go ahead and ink it up in Bumblebee, and then that's just going to go right over the top there just to give that flower a little bit more of an accent. Okay? Now, all of these have dies. So again, you'll go back to your die cut machine and you will grab the large flower die. You will grab the little cluster and you'll punch this one out, and then this one up here you'll punch out, okay? And then that little individual flower also has a die. You can take that one and cut that one out, okay? Remember, that's a boo-boo, okay? All right, I'll just have that, hold that there for just a little bit. Sometimes it helps. I think people say they like to freeze frame so that then they know what to do. All right, after you get all of those punched out, you will have this, okay? All of these here, just like that, all right? Now we have our sentiment strip. You'll have one of those, and go ahead and stamp whatever sentiment you want. It's a little bit longer strip, so that if you wanted to use the larger scalloped label there, you could. You also have a piece of Very Vanilla in your box, the one that coordinates with the Bumblebee cardstock. And let me show you what we're going to do with that one, okay? Let's get our scrap back in here, our Bumblebee ink pad back in here. And I'm going to take that individual little stamp there. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to stamp it off. And I'm just going to start down here in the corner, okay? And I just want 1, 2, 3, all in one inking. I'm going to stamp it off, and I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to start over here and go 1, 2, 3. And you just keep doing that all the way up the strip of this paper, okay? If you have some gaps in there, that's okay. Like there's a little bit of vanilla in there, it's okay. If you forget to stamp off, this time it won't matter. Go ahead and finish it up down here at the bottom, okay? Isn't that gorgeous, just like that? Absolutely gorgeous. But I thought it looked even prettier to run it through that textured embossing folder, okay? So I did that, and here it is. And I don't know if that's showing up or not, but that texture on there is absolutely gorgeous. So again, any embossing folder would actually work, okay? But remember, you can stamp on pieces and then run them through the embossing and get a little texture along with the image, okay? So now this is going to get placed over here on the right-hand side. I'm going to go ahead and place 4 little dimensionals here in the corners. And we're going to start building this gorgeous cluster of flowers on the front of this last card. I'm sad it's the last card. But it has been nice to share 8 cards with you instead of just 2 like in my Class to Go kits. Okay, so we're going to do kind of like what we did with the last card is I just want the green off this, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to trim off the flowers there, trim around, and then I'm going to put just a little bit of adhesive down here on those. I think I got a little too much there, so I'm just going to rub a little bit off. I don't want it to oop out. And then this should lay perfectly right over the top there to give yourself some green stems. Okay. Now I think the first thing that's the easiest to put on as we're building this is this leafy stem here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of glue down there at the base of that. I'm going to place this just kind of about a little above half there and make sure I'm keeping it on my yellow piece. Again, I can take my fingers and bring those little leaves up a little bit to bring them to life. It is laying over some texture, so I'm taking my time and really pressing on that so that I can make sure it's going to stick. The larger flower I'm going to attach like I did the last time, 1 dimensional down there in the bottom. Take my bone folder again and just kind of give those petals some life. And that's going to get placed up here. Again, I like to tuck it a little bit underneath these leaves just to have them show. I think they look gorgeous that way. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to attach is this guy here. And this is going to, you want your stem to kind of come down almost to the bottom here, okay? So kind of play with where exactly this is going to lay. Once you have it where you want it, figure out, I just want dimensionals behind here and here. I don't need anything behind here, okay? Because it's going to be over that there, okay? So I'm just going to take and put 2 regular size dimensionals over those 2 flowers there. Just like that. And then our 2 little accent flowers, I just love these tucked in. Go ahead and put a little bit of glue on the back side of that one. That one is actually going to go down onto that rich raspberry piece, and I'm just going to tuck it in down here. And before I pull my hands off it, I'm going to take and kind of pull those petals up just a little bit, okay? And then this one, same thing. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive down along that bottom edge of that flower. And I'm going to come over here, whoops, and sneak it right underneath that one. And again, pulling those little edges forward before I let go of it to give that little dimension. Okay. Now I thought, again, I always need birthday cards, so it's a nice little birthday card. I see my little stem is hanging here. I think my sentiment is going to help hold that down, okay? But I did the happy birthday. It's a little shorter than the die, but you can easily remedy that by trimming off the edge, okay? And it's not going to look weird that that edge doesn't match the other edges because it's going to get laid over here flush against that vanilla piece edge, okay? Just like that, okay? Right there. Isn't that cute? Really cute. All right, so let me bring out all the projects for you again so you can see how gorgeous they are. We have this one and this one. Excuse my arm. We have these that we made in the beginning. These were very simple, easy cards, but stunning, remember? And then we brought it up a little notch with these last ones, right? Because they are kind of a little bit of a fun fold, okay? This one was here as well, okay? I feel like, oh yeah, we're missing one. There should be 8. Here we go. This one, sorry. This one here. This was the other fun fold I was talking about. Yeah. So there you go. And then in addition, remember, you have your cute little candy boxes, okay? So I really hope you enjoyed watching this. If you have not yet contacted me and shown interest in ordering my Stamp Retreat in a Box with Art Gallery, please do. I would love to send you one and love to have you enjoy it. So again, everyone take care. Please stay safe, and we'll see you next time.